into on this. What's today? Wacky Wednesday. You already know we right here at work decided to hop on, chopping up with individuals. See what's the talk of the town. It's going down the word of the curve. You heard me. Here's Southern California. It is a nice warm day, so we're out of that heat, phase. So which is good. Finally, it started to cool down. Wanted to see what's good with the folks, the lokes. Now, I made a video if you guys are interested in, peeping it out on this channel about the whole Charlie Kirk incident, him, passing away, being, um, he was somebody who was like, big for Trump, right? Like when it comes to his movement, the MAGA movement, and, getting people on board. But he makes it very dangerous for people to side with Trump or to be Trump supporters because, the reason why I know people like Trump because he has no filter. He speaks, he tells it how it is, right? He doesn't hold back. He talks like, without holding shit back. And the reason why all presidents, have always watched what they say, right? Is because it's very important because they are not just like everyday folks like me and you and stuff like that, right? They're the presidents, right? So their word holds weight, right? So when they're out there saying reckless stuff, individuals are going to take their words and actually believe that what they're saying is, true, right? Like you're declaring war on certain cities and certain individuals, right? They take that as you challenging them now and, like you're wanting to go to war with them or what they believe that their cause or side is, right? And you'll get those individuals to go out there and now, take action. That's why it's very dangerous to do that and to be like that. That's why you always got to watch what you say. But Trump it doesn't click in his head. He doesn't make the connections. His words could actually cause, shit to happen. It's ridiculous. What's cracking like a little Rich? What's good, my boy? The light's been off today. I feel you. What's cracking like it, Mr. Pasa? Is definitely up in the casa for the raza. I don't know. Shooter seems like a military type. I don't know who's the shooter. I don't know if they actually caught the shooter. You know what I mean? But I want to say that maybe not so much a professional, but he definitely knew what he was doing because it's not easy to hit a target from a distance, and get him right where, where he got him, right? He hit him somewhere where he definitely was not going to survive that, he got him good, So from that distance, being a crowded area and everything like that, and to stay calm, collective in order to make your shot. Yeah, the individual definitely knew what he was doing. He was not a fucking, That's why I don't think it's that old man because the old man, he had glasses. I mean, not to say that he couldn't, right? Maybe in his younger days, right? I mean, he could have, anything could happen, but I would figure the shooter would have been, somebody younger, Yeah, but it's crazy though. Like I said, when these people, I don't know, it just doesn't click to them. Like when you're talking on the internet, bro, people are going to think that you're talking to them, even if you're not, right? You have a lot of people out there who are just not right in the head, bro. And so, you saying all this shit like, oh, we're going to go to war with this city and that city, then these people are going to take it like, okay, so you want to go to war with me? All right, now I'm going to go to, now everybody that aligns themselves with you, shit, they on my list. That's how they gonna take it, and you're putting now, your supporters in danger. That's why it's not good to be out there talking reckless like he does. But he doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't click in his head. And that just doesn't go for like, let's say the riot or that, but that goes in general. Like I said, people out there, you have a lot of individuals out there that just need a reason. They just need you to give them a reason, It could be anything, road rage, honk, or, disrespect. But all it takes is for you to give them that reason for them to do what they got to do. They've been dying to, do whatever the hell they want to do. Now you just gave them the reason of, why to do it. Because the individual did know how to trigger a lot of people. Sad. Because, I mean, nobody is untouchable, not even the presidents, No matter how good you got security and how you could potentially, get got, anywhere. If you find an individual that has, he's unhinged, mentally, and he has, fucking like a drive for it, right? Yeah, anybody can become a target. The security in the world is not, and the best security in the world is not going to protect you from that. It's a sad reality of things. It's insane that the federal government allowed them to continue for hunting and snatching people up. Yeah, but like a lot of things. See, Trump makes it, like I said, like this. There could be numerous reasons of why he was targeted, right? Like Kirk, right? Because of this guy's actions, right? So, like the person, maybe it could have been fucked. There's so many things it could have been, right, to trigger the individual. Because he's out there defending an individual like Trump, right? It could be somebody whose family maybe was, maybe they have a sister who had been, molested, right? Because of the whole Epstein thing, right? Finally found some tape. Maybe he had family who was snatched up by immigration. Maybe he's transgender. Maybe he's, you know what I mean? But it's like a fucking long ass list of, reasons, why the individual could have done what he did. And that's what I'm saying, though. And like Trump got there recklessly talking, bro. And this guy defending him, man, I could see why he got cold shit. Because I'm pretty sure he was not even thinking about, that this was going to happen to him. And it's ironic, the conversation they were having right before it happened, though, right? Like, fuck. And just because, he is for guns and shit like that, like I said, and he's, like, says a lot of dumb shit, that doesn't mean he needs to lose his life, though. Because he's still a father. What about his kids? Pretty sure they loved him. Like I said, it was just politics. Trump is doing a horrible job. Yeah, he is, bro. He's doing a very, very horrible job, and not just like, let's say, with his views on stuff, right? But even with the economy, right? Like where he said our economy was going to be at and where it's at is like two different things, right? The loss of jobs, a lot of jobs have been lost, right? The fact that a lot of farmers in fucking Kansas, are fucking filing for bankruptcy, right? Because the tariffs are definitely affecting them, and a lot of them were Trump supporters, right? It's like, bro, that fool doesn't give a fuck, and it's crazy because he doesn't even bother to talk about those subjects, right? Those are his supporters, Like, bro, what you gonna say? You're gonna just ignore the subject? Like, fuck, bro, that's crazy. Not even gonna touch on it. People are waiting for an answer. He ain't even willing to address the matter. That is crazy. But people are starting to wake up, It's sad that they had to find out the hard way. But it's like, bro, why did you guys think he was going to change? People don't change at his age. They're already the way that they are. Oh, guy got released. Yeah, I figured that much. I was like, nah, that fool can't be the shooter. He didn't look like he was, in the best of shape to be, But that was brazy. That was bold of the individual, right? Like, out in the open with all kinds of people and in a college, and damn, bro was legit. The suspect is already in custody. They caught him at the campus. Even a video of him on the roof. Oh, there is. All right. But it wasn't the old man, no. All right, so they caught a guy. He was young or what? Hey, let me guess, he was white. Ah. There's certain things there's certain crimes that, certain individuals don't do, like raza. Raza is not really much for being, school shooters or shit like this, right? They'll gangbang. They'll tag on walls. They'll rob you. But a political hit, that's just something that I don't see. I don't see the raza doing. I don't see somebody from the raza side caring so much in order to do that. It's a joke, but because anybody could be for it. It's crazy that this happened. in my home state. Oh yeah, that's right, huh? That's true. I was just before this is what happened. Yeah, and like he's always out there like like debating individuals, right? And it gets out of hand, right? That's why I'm always like, that's a trip. Like this fool really thinks that like nothing's gonna happen to him. That's crazy. Are you still active? Active on what, my boy? On the internet? None of that matters, my boy. It's the internet. Do you fuck with? No, he's a weirdo. Before, yeah, right? But oh, that guy's he likes him a little on the younger side. Kind of like the Fast and the Furious guy. So what if she's just a teenager? Fuck her. Shows this. Look, there's a difference from saying fuck him and saying that he's stupid. And all, that's cool. That's cool. You're allowed and entitled to say all of those things and feel like that about the individual, especially with his views, right? So I understand that, right? And I get it too. But not to lose his life over, though. You know what I mean? Not to fucking take action like violence on that fool. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't gonna be able to release the Epstein files. You know what I mean? That fool wasn't gonna be able to do damn shit, bro. You know what I mean? Can nobody out there, whether you apply the pressure on them, get that individual, meaning Trump, to release the files, but him. I don't think people understand the level of narcissist that Trump is. Trump doesn't give a fuck about nobody, and he doesn't care if everybody was to say to release those files. Like everybody in his staff is telling them, Trump, release the files. He's not going to release them, bro. He doesn't give a fuck about none of his team and staff. They're not going to make him do some shit that he doesn't want to do, period. Only he can release them, and he ain't gonna. And that's the truth of the matter, bro. He's not going to listen to nobody. If one of his teams was to apply the pressure, if they were to, he would fire all of them on the spot. He would, bro, and he wouldn't release them. That's his get down. He doesn't break under pressure. He doesn't, bow down to people. You know what I mean? That fool is stubborn like that. You know what I'm saying? Bro was willing to draw on a map with a Sharpie that a hurricane hit an area that it didn't hit, that we all know it didn't hit. And he still to this day says that it did. Even all the fucking evidence and proof says otherwise. That lets you know the delusion of this man. That lets you know the kind of individual we're fucking with right here. This fool is beyond fucking loony, homie. He really is that horrible, bro. Now, he's not the worst president, though, because there's presidents that have done worse than him. But he's easily top 3, though. Easily. Because, we have had presidents that fucking did fucking genocide almost and taking over people's lands and all kinds of shit, right? So Trump hasn't done all of that yet, right? He's done a lot, but other people have done worse. Though. What's cracking like it, Derek? What's good, my boy? Getting ready to get the Skrilla. What's cracking like it, Dashboard? Hey, I was checking out the LA Knight Riders. And I understand the game of cricket more now, though. I get it now. I get it more now. Before, I thought the object was like to hit the ball, and even though it is, but it's mostly to protect the... What are those sticks called? The fucking sticks? I forgot the name of those shits. Yeah, but some motherfuckers are legit with their pitches or their bowls or whatever the fuck they call them. I'm gonna just call them pitches. It makes it easier. I don't like their point system. Their point system to me is kind of like, it reminds me of like football, because I don't like the football's point system either. Like, oh, this is 6 points, and then that's 2 points and 3 points. Like, why can't it just be like, okay, you score, so you get 1 point? Like, why does it gotta be like 10 or 12 or, you know what I'm saying? Like in basketball, it makes sense, right? Like if it's a free throw, right, it's 1 point. If you're in the mid range, it's two, and the further you get, the more it goes, right? So two, then three, but it just stops there, right? It would have been stupid if they started going like to 4, 5, 6. Like if you make it from half court, I know that one of the passes was one where it's like you make it from half court, it's like 5 points. Like nah. Yeah, stop. You're doing too much like football already. Like it's better just to understand it like this. This is simple. I don't know how hard that ball is, but to be catching the ball with your bare hands, damn, it's pretty. I don't know. I don't know if it's like as hard as a baseball or not, but it's crazy. NBA young boy just sold out. They're showing in LA yesterday. He has another one tonight. Serio? Oh no, yeah. Well, he's somebody that's popular, no? Hey, but anything could happen anywhere. Facts, bro. Facts. Crimes happen in nice areas too, like Beverly Hills and all that. You have home invasions and shit like that. Like I said, bro, it could literally get dangerous anywhere. All you literally need to do is bump into that right person, bro, or the wrong person, should I say, for shit to go sideways. There's been millionaires that have been arrested for murder. There's been billionaires and athletes and musicians and actors and doctors and like I said, this shit could happen anywhere. Anybody, you know what I mean? Somebody was crying like in titties in my face. Well, I have a question. What are your thoughts on people who use the Christian concept redemption to say that once they become reborn Christians, their past sins are no matter how bad they? Yeah, I don't know. Like that whole concept in itself, to me, it just doesn't make any sense in general, right? Like I feel like is um I see it all as manipulation, to be honest with you, right? To not offend, I'm not here to offend nobody or nothing like that, right? But I just see that as a mechanism to get people in line, right? Like this promise: if you now behave good, you would be granted immortality, because that's essentially what you're promising people: immortality. You're promising them immortality, to live forever with no pain and with all their loved ones that they have had in their life. You're promising them no pain, nothing but good times, and you get to live forever with your loved ones in a big ass kingdom. You know, yeah, sounds nice. I can see why a lot of people would want that. Who wouldn't, right? But I just live in reality though, and reality is not even as cold as people try to make it seem. Like, also, what do you think? Like, once we die, like what? There's nothing beyond that. Like like that's so sad and horrible. Like, how you live life though? You got to live your life, right? And now it's time to go, right? Like you lived it though, right? So how's that? Like how's that a bad thing, right? Like everything comes to an end, bro. That's what it is. Because then it comes to the question is like, are they really sorry, or do they now really feel remorse, or are they just pretending to feel remorse and playing the part, right? And now, are they doing this because they want a second chance and to be able to, get up there, or is it because they truly do really feel bad about what they did, right? And just the latter will show them 9 times out of 10 more that individuals are full of shit, and are probably being, and it's just because it's like they can't even be mad or blame people that they see them that way, right? it's kind of like saying, if you have gone to jail for stealing 27 times, 27 times you have been arrested for stealing and robbery and being a thief, right? So you got arrested 27 times, right? And now something goes missing at a family reunion. You guys all together and something goes missing. Let's say a stack of money goes missing. You can't be mad because now everybody's looking at you, right? You have to understand that, of course, people are going to look at you because you have a record and a pattern of doing this behavior. You only have yourself to blame for being the way you are, for behaving and doing the shit you did, right? That's why people are not looking at you. You can't, and you got to be like, all right, I get it. People, you know what I mean? Because it's the reality of things. You can't be mad now and be like, oh, how dare you guys? When it's like, well, nobody else has been arrested here for that. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that that's like the right thing to do, but I'm saying like you can understand why people would see you as the one that did it, when you probably didn't even do it. But you could understand why people would suspect you, and you only got to blame for being that way, and for people to seeing you that way, right? So it's like, well, if people have a hard time believing that you actually really are a reborn Christian, you can see why, right? When your whole fucking entire life you've been. And a lot of them that, become reborn, whatever, they tend to reoffend again, right? Not all of them, but I'm saying that some of them have shown to reoffend again, right? So showing that they were just full of shit. Did Trump lose supporters, or they are still going to sign it? Oh, no. There's individuals that are still going to ride and die for that individual. The only way that you can get a Trump supporter to turn on Trump, they can release the Epstein files. That's not going to work. If the Epstein file shows that Donald Trump is a child molester and a predator and everything, it's not going to work. His supporters are still going to support him. If it shows, all of it, you can bring all the evidence and show all his fucking bad things that he has done. The only way people will turn on Trump, right, is if Trump does something that now affects that individual, meaning, him and his way of living, right? Like if all of a sudden now, because of something that Trump did, the guy loses his job or one of his family members, this and this happens. That's the only way you'll get them to turn on him, is if it personally affects them in their personal life, because people only give a fuck about themselves and what they have going on. They don't care about other people's kids or what happens to these girls. They don't. As fucked up as that sounds, there's a lot of people that are like that, bro. They don't care until it happens to them. It's not a problem until, it now affects them. If it's their kid, if it's their daughter, their sister, their mother, their aunt, then they'll care. But if it's somebody else's, they won't give a fuck, bro. That's a cold reality of things, Look at all the people like those farmers in Kansas. They were standing by Trump and fuck yeah. But now that, they're going bankrupt and they're losing their farms, all of a sudden now they're like, hey, Trump, what happened? Hey, all those raza individuals that supported Trump and voted for Trump and now their parents are getting deported. Damn, dog, hey, I voted for him, but I didn't think he was going to do this. But see, now that it is affecting, what they have going on, now they're like, oh yeah, man, I made a mistake. But when he was doing all this other shit, oh yeah, well he's doing good, or no, he's doing that. But now that once it starts hitting home, all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, now I can see what people were talking about. Oh, now, ain't that funny how that works? It's gotta hit home. And now people don't give a fuck. Cause look, they were doing, what's the name of that channel? The Good Liars is the name of the channel, right? They go around to Trump's MAGA rallies and they interview Trump supporters. Excuse me. And there was some that he had said, they said, if Trump was to commit a murder, in the White House in front of everybody, I will still support him. That's what they said. And I believe that too. I believe that. But I guarantee you, if the person they had murdered was their brother, sister, or son, they wouldn't agree with it. They'll be like, oh no, fuck this guy. He needs jail. But they said, yeah, if he was to commit a murder, yeah, I would still support him. Yeah, I bet you would. But if it were to be one of your relatives, then you would have the issue. Once it affects you, then it becomes a problem. Because I guarantee you, if I said, What if it was your kid that he murdered? I guarantee you they wouldn't be. They would have said, "Oh no, yeah, I would still support him." I guarantee you they wouldn't. Showing you, yeah, bro, you only give a fuck once it's you. I get it. Selfish, but then they want to act like they're not, or that they know what's right for America. Coming from the most selfish people out there. A lot of ex-gang members use the Christian concept to redemption to say that God will forgive them for their past sins, no matter how bad they were. Hey, whatever helped them sleep at night. A lot of people tell themselves a lot of things, right? To try to, ease their mind. I don't know you, but I like you, man. Are you Mexican? Greetings from. Yeah, I am Mexican. Well, I'm Mexican American. I was born here, but you know, my family's from Mexico. I would say I'm Mexican, but then the Mexicans are gonna be like, "Oh, you weren't born in Mexico." And I'll say I'm American, but then they're gonna be like, "Man, you ain't from America, bro. Your people come from Mexico." So we're in the middle. Somos chicanos, pues. The guy who played Chucky from. Serio? Why? What did he do? He was a weirdo too. Saludos. Hey, likewise. I forgot who they were playing against, but I seen their jersey though. It's like Laker colored, but they have a black and gold one that's legit though. All right, there you go. Stumps. A part of his feeling like this is karma on the Trump administration and yeah, it could be like I said, any numerals, but it has to relate to that though. Like I don't see an individual doing it just because he didn't like the guy's shirt or how he sounded. I mean, it could be, right? But there's a bigger chance that it was related to this matter. It's not 10 or 12. It's oh no, yeah, no, yeah. I just randomly threw random numbers out there. But do you believe no matter how bad someone did, they can change their life? I believe that there is people that could change, right? I believe that people could change, But I believe also that there's certain people that cannot be changed. I believe that there's some people in this world that are so far gone that they just cannot be changed, There's been individuals like serial killers, right? Like there's been some real, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, they ain't got shit on some of these individuals, right? Which actually blows my mind, why those are more popular than some of the ones that you hardly hear about that are fucking. Maybe because they're too crazy, right? And people just don't want to, scare people to think that anybody could be like this. But there's been some fucking people that are just way out there, right? That yeah, and they themselves admit that yeah, it's a good thing I was caught because if I wasn't, I would have never seen myself stop from killing, and I believe that too. There's just some people that are just too far gone. And I believe that some people mentally, there's just something wrong with them, like the ones that are, pedophiles, for example. Like that's a mental, like a brain disease, right? Like that, and other ones, right? Um, it's just I don't know. I just don't see how they could be attracted to like a child. Like how like how do you? I don't. I'm telling you, I just can't wrap my head around it. So that just leads me to believe that there has to be something wrong with him mentally, because I don't fucking get it. you know, or the transgender too. Like I just don't understand at all. But see, like with that one, the reason why, you know, I don't care like so much to like, oh, why like everybody out there makes a big deal about it is because Well, if that fool wants to fucking dress like a woman, then let him. That's him. It's not gonna affect nobody else, right? So who gives a fuck? Compared to this one, now we'll see this motherfucker trying to, molest another child, right? So his problem is affecting other people. So that's why his is an issue. His is just him. I don't, who cares if he's wearing a dress if he's a man? Like that's his pedo. It's not gonna fucking affect nobody else, right? But this motherfucker's over here. His shit's gonna affect other people. That's why it's an issue. Right? I don't support. He said he supports kids getting unalive in Gaza. Yeah. Look, the individual, like I said, I see him as a piece of shit, and he thought stupid. That's just my views, right? And that's not gonna change just because he passed away now, right? I believe the individual thought stupid, but I also don't believe that he should have lost his life over it. You know what I mean? Like he can think the way he is. If anything, like I feel bad that that individual's like that, like because you're the one that has to live with yourself with that stupid mentality, you know. But like I said, it's not something you should lose his life over. Because then if you wish that upon that individual, then you become no better than him. Like you hate the individual because he wishes death upon people and because he thinks the way he thinks, right? But then now you're gonna wish the same on him. So now you become the very exact same thing in which you despise the individual for being, right? That's the whole point of being the bigger person, right? And holding yourself to your morals is that you're not gonna stoop to their level. You're not gonna become like them now, right? Because, like I said, the reason you despise them is because of how they are. So you now being like them or thinking like them, then that makes you no better. Then you have become the very same thing that you fucking despised, right? And it's so easy to get lost in like that, right? Because once you embrace that, then now you start wishing death upon other people, right? And their views and their group, then you become just like them. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like once you try to throw your shit on like other people, it's not cool. That fool getting nothing. Yeah, that shit's crazy. How many podcasts have invited to go on their show? I can tell you said no, a lot of them. Yeah, I actually have turned a lot of them down. The reason for that is just I don't see conversation or where it would go, right? Like the only reason I would see why they would want that is to talk about shit that's I'm not willing to talk about on the internet. you know, because there's certain stuff that's just not meant for the internet, and I know that that's the only thing that people want to talk about is the shit that I'm not gonna go into. Like, oh, I wasn't able to do that, or wasn't able. I don't know. I don't know. Or who's doing that, or who's doing that. No, no. You know what I'm saying? Many of the Latinos said that they would vote for him. They just say that, but they would still. Which I don't understand why people. Probably because at the same time the Democrats candidates are not good either, though. You know what I mean? I think the reason why is just because of the options that were at the table on the time, like Biden and Trump. Like fuck, like that's really two horrible picks, right? I think if there was a better candidate, like on the left side, right, people would probably be like, all right, fuck it. But who were the options though? People were like, nah, fucked. You know what I mean? Shit, I think neither the left or the right can put a good candidate. Like they fucking trash. Can't be mad at them for believing that. I know. I can see why individuals see it that way and would want to. I mean, who wouldn't? You know what I mean? Sounds good. So I don't blame it. And it does help people. Like I said, it does help people. It gives people hope, strength. You know what I mean? It does good. It does good, to individuals. I can't knock individuals for preaching that or pushing that. You know what I mean? I have an issue when people try to use that in means to, get their way, right? Or to manipulate people or shit like that, right? Because there's people that do that, right? Or that think that they're better than you just because they go to church. And it's like, are you sure you read that Bible, bro? Because for someone that reads the Bible and goes to church, I mean, you sure live the opposite of that, right? Because they like, oh, they should teach us the Bible in schools and stuff like that, and instead of all this, bad stuff and everything. But like, have you read the Bible? There's stories in there of daughters sleeping with fathers and shit like that. It does. You know what I mean? So it's like the Bible does have a lot of crazy shit, right? And I think marriage should be between a man and woman and stuff like that, because it goes against the Bible, because the Bible says they can't do that. Yet they eat shrimp and pork, and the Bible says they can't do that. Yet they do it, so they pick and choose, right? So it doesn't make any sense. A lot of hypocrisy and contradiction going on. That leads me to only believe that a lot of people just say that they read the Bible and that they are holy people, but they have no idea about none of that, right? Because if we can dissect the Bible, we can really dissect it, right? That's what I mean, hypocrisy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my lunch break is over. We got to get back to it. It was good chopping it up with you guys, and we out.